Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Brian Caparici. I'm the CEO and founder here at Sprout Studio. I'm so thrilled that you're here with us, and I'm so excited to walk through booking proposals with you today. Really quickly, if you're here, if you're joining us live, because I know a lot of folks watch this replay afterwards, but if you're watching live, pop into the chat, say hello, and let us know where you're joining us from. Also, would love to see Drew and Braden have prepared some polls in the top right. Click the polls button in the menu on the right-hand side and just answer those questions for us, just so that we know where you're coming from and where you are currently in your Sprout Studio journey. Appreciate you guys taking some time today to watch this, whether you're here with us live or whether you're watching the replay. So welcome to everybody who's here with us. I'm going to switch on over to this so we can kind of run through some ideas here. Our goal today is we're talking about booking proposals. So we're going to dive deep into 5 core sort of questions. Number 1, what is a booking proposal? Number 2, what happens after a booking proposal is signed and converted? Number 3, what happens or what goes into a booking proposal? What are the different components? Number 4, what does a booking proposal look like from your client's perspective? And number 5, how can you use booking proposals to grow your photography business? So let me know in the comments over there if that sounds like it's exciting for you and what you're looking forward to the most in this seminar or this sort of workshop webinar here today. But the quick sort of TLDR on what the plan is during our time together for the next hour is we're going to do a 45-minute demo. I'm going to run through all these things in here for you, everything we talked about on the last slide, and then we're going to have a 15-minute Q&A at the end, and there will be a replay available afterwards. That's really important to note because I'm going to go through a lot of things very quick. We're going to be pretty fast-paced and running through everything. Yeah, there will be a replay, so you don't have to worry about making too many notes. Everything will be available for you to watch back afterwards, and that'll be automatically emailed to you as soon as we wrap up the event. Just quickly saying hello over here to Ryan, to Lisa, to Donna. Thanks for chiming in. We've got Braden, Drew, and Justin, and Brittany over there as well. So hi, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining and watching live. Really quickly, the UI here in the webinar platform we use is called Livestorm. There's 4 tabs: chat, questions, polls, people. Feel free to explore those if you'd like. But if you do have questions throughout, please put those in the questions tab. That way, Justin, who's with us here from support, can answer them, or he'll flag them for me to pull up at the very end. Really quick run through 60-second intro of me and why we're here today. I'm the CEO and founder here at Sprout Studio. I've been a wedding and portrait photographer here in Niagara, Ontario, Canada for 16 years. I've been teaching the business of photography for 12 years to photographers just like you, everything from business to marketing to selling to productivity and everything in between. I've been married to my wife for 11 years. We have 3 beautiful kids: Ava, who's 8, 5, Ben, who's 5, and Andrew, who's 3. 5 isn't Ben. Ben is 5. And the reason that we exist here at Sprout and the rest of the team who's in the call with us today is we exist to help you make a living doing what you love. That is our guiding principle, our mission, and everything that we use to make decisions to help you in your business is we want to help you make a living doing what you love as a photographer. Let me introduce you to some of the team that we have on the call here. We've got Drew, who is on the sales and marketing team at Sprout, partnering up with a lot of our VIP and partners and ambassadors to help spread the word about Sprout Studio. Drew, say hello in the chat on the side over there. We have Braden, who is heading up customer success at Sprout. Braden's kind of the cheerleader here in this webinar today. So Braden, say hello in the chat. I'm sure everyone's familiar with him and seeing his face on over there. And then, of course, certainly last but not least, we have Justin, our director of customer success, diving all into the Hulk memes, as I'm sure he's about to post. But he's here to help answer questions. And if you do have questions beyond the conversation that we're going to have today, then certainly Justin's going to be the go-to guy, or at least he would be one of the go-to people that you would be chatting with. So let's, I went too far ahead of myself there. Let's jump into that first topic. So if we kind of run into what is a booking proposal, that's the first thing that we're going to dive into. And I'm going to use my fancy iPad and my fancy iPad pencil, Apple Pencil, just to kind of run through the framework, because booking proposals sometimes can get misinterpreted, can be potentially confusing if you're not used to the overall structure and the overall framework of it. So I'm going to run through what a booking proposal is in concept, just to kind of make sure that we're on the same page, so that when we pull it up and you see it in Sprout, you're actually able to understand how it's used and why certain things are working a certain way, and you can kind of really understand all the nuts and bolts of how you build a booking proposal. So with that, I'm going to go on over here, share my iPad screen. There we are. So let's start running through some of the ideas of what a booking proposal is. So let's kind of, we're going to start with the simplest thing, where we basically have a potential client. So let's just do this. And this potential client is sitting there on your website, right? And so that client fills out some form on your website, and they answer their things and do all that. By the way, that form can be built in Sprout Studio, so you can do all that. But basically, that is what happens there. The client fills out a form on your website, they get in touch, and then that person becomes what we call in Sprout a lead. So that is where the introduction to Sprout Studio and you being able to manage them in Sprout sort of starts. So they start as a client, fill out a contact form, they become a lead. At that point, you're going to do your back and forth with them. So you're going to meet with them, you're going to email them, you're going to call them, you're going to do your whole, courting process back and forth with your client in Sprout, out of Sprout, in person, on the phone, whatever it is that you're doing. You're going to do all that back and forth. But at some point along that way, the client's basically going to say, hey, I am ready to book you. So they're going to say, yep, I like it, I love it, let's go ahead, let's make this official, let's take the next step, and they're going to want to go ahead and book you. So at that point, you send the client the booking proposal. This is where a booking proposal comes in, and that's where you can basically say, great, let's pick a package, let's get some contact info, let's fill out a questionnaire to get more information, let's sign the contract, let's make the payment, and we're good to go. So you send that right there is the booking proposal. Now, the only caveat there, or the other part that we want to make sure that we talk about, is that after the client signs it here, you basically have to countersign it, and then you sign that, and then at that point, they turn into a shoot in Sprout Studio. So that's sort of like the overall, workflow of how this works. They start as a website visitor, fill out your contact form, then they become a lead. You do your back and forth with them over here. Once they're ready to book, this is very important. Once they're ready to book, you send them a booking proposal. They fill out all these things, and we're going to walk through all of those in full granularity and full detail. Let me just quickly hide my face here because I realize that I'm covering up. There we go. That's not what I want to see. There we go. Where's the little X? I can't even see the X. I'll move it. There we go. There's the X. There we are. So they're going to do all these things right here. They're going to pay. And then once you countersign it, then they turn into a shoot. So that's the overall structure of how a booking proposal works. If you're looking at this through the lens of maybe a wedding photographer, if you're a wedding photographer, in fact, maybe if you can, let me know in the comments, what kind of photography do you typically do? Wedding photography, newborn photography, family portrait photography, school photography. Let me know what you're doing, because it will help maybe me frame some of these conversations today that are more relevant for you folks that are here watching live. That's the benefit of you watching live. So we got family seniors branding. Very cool. So when you do this process, again, typically one of the big caveats from a business standpoint, again, this is me kind of taking off my Sprout Studio hat and putting on my business education hat. We don't want to send a booking proposal cold. You want to send a booking proposal once you've had a chance to do your back and forth with your client. I see a lot of photographers that are newer to Sprout Studio, or that are newer to using a CRM, and they come into Sprout and they send the booking proposal expecting that that's the only thing that the client's going to see. That's the first thing that the client sees. I'm of the opinion that we want to spend more time getting involved ourselves. We want to spend more time in this space over here before we send the booking proposal, because that's when we have the opportunity to hop in, to get involved in the conversation, to communicate value, to relate to them, to talk about how you're able to serve them, how you're able to help them. And also, when you go through this process, you can help them through things like package. You can help them through talking about what's going to be in the contract. You can walk them through the payment as opposed to them just seeing it for the first time in a digital form. So that's just sort of like some encouragement for you, is don't use the booking proposal as like the first thing that they see. Don't use it as an automation, but instead use it as a next step in the customer journey with you. So as they get in touch, you do your back and forth with them. And then once they're ready to book, you send them a booking proposal. That's the formality of actually booking you as a photographer. Let me know if you have questions throughout. I'm obviously super happy to answer them as we go. Or Justin is there and he's happy to answer them as well. Otherwise, I'll leave them off until the end. But the next thing that I kind of want to run through is what happens after a client signs the booking proposal. So again, if we kind of swing on back over to my iPad, at this point, once the client goes through and they sign the contract and they make the payment on the booking proposal, that leaves it in this state where now you have to sign it. So there's still a lead until you countersign it as the photographer. And then once you sign it, they're booked into a shoot. Now, at this point, once they're booked into a shoot, there's a few things that are going to be triggered and a few things that are going to be happening here. So the first thing that's going to happen is obviously they're going to convert into a shoot. The next thing that's going to happen is any workflow that you set up in the booking proposal is going to be applied. So, and I'll show you this in just a moment when we hop into Sprout, but in the booking proposal, you basically have the opportunity to say, hey, when this shoot converts, when this lead converts to a shoot, apply this workflow. So a workflow is going to be applied if you've got that turned on. The third part that's going to happen is an email is going to go to the client with a link to the shoot. So that's, again, if you have that turned on, then they will have that. And the fourth thing that will happen is the status of the shoot will basically be reset to the default one that's called booked. And at that point, the client is now in shoot statuses and no longer having lead statuses because they've left a lead and now they are becoming a shoot. So they'll have shoot statuses. So those are the four things that happen once the booking proposal is signed, in addition to like the standard notifications that say, hey, you just signed a contract. Hey, you just made a payment. Hey, you just filled out a questionnaire. Those things are going to happen. That's all based on your Sprout Assistant settings. I'll show you those as well once we hop into the booking proposal. But otherwise, these are the four things that are going to happen once you sign that contract and countersign it and convert it into a shoot. Again, if you have questions throughout, please don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, I'm now going to hop into Sprout and we're going to walk through all the different components of a booking proposal. I'll turn my face on here for a minute too. Where are we? There we go. How you doing? Okay, so right here, I've got Sprout Studio open. I have a wedding pulled up here. A lot of these things, I know that a lot of you folks, you're saying in the chat there, your family, seniors, branding, pets, commercial, family. So they're very applicable both to family, to weddings, all that. I'll speak to it. The example I'll have here is for weddings, but I'll speak to it for families as well, because it sounds like a lot of folks are coming in that space. So this is the lead that I have here. Again, if you're using Sprout, you're in an advanced webinar here, you're familiar enough with what a lead is. What we're going to do is I'm going to hop into the booking proposal here. And in fact, maybe now I will hide my screen so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so now let's kind of walk through all the different components. Now I'm just going to kind of start on the top left here, and then we'll work my way down into sort of like a sideways S pattern here. So the first one here is going to be the available offerings. So this part here is where you can actually say, okay, I want to present my client with these different options for booking as main packages, meaning, hey, I want to give you the option to book package 1, 2, or 3, or silver, platinum, and gold, or this, and that. So you basically have that opportunity to let them pick one of whatever number of packages that you want to present to them. Again, small bit of encouragement. Don't necessarily give them all of the options, but help them narrow it down a little bit, because otherwise it can be overwhelming. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to choose my wedding price list, and then I'm going to go ahead and just add collection number 1 and collection number 2 and collection number 3. Now, a couple of caveats. Once I have copied collection number 1 over from that price list, I can now hop in here and click edit, and I'm editing this collection but only for this booking proposal. So I can make tweaks, I can change the price, I can add items, I can remove items, I can do all of those things, and it's only going to change it for this particular booking proposal. The main collection in your main price list will not be touched because you're now working with a copy of it in this booking proposal. Now, additionally, I can also drag these around. I can rearrange them if I want to show them in a different order. So I can do all that. So I can show them off in the way that I want to show them off. But there are 3 collections that the client will be presented as saying, hey, choose 1, 2, or 3. You've got to choose one of them. The next part down here is the a la carte item section. Now, this is where you can say, hey, great. In addition to being able to choose 1 or 2 or 3, you can optionally add on any or all of the a la carte items, meaning that they can say, hey, I love collection 2, but I also want to add on A, B, and C. Or, oh, hey, I love collection 2, but it doesn't have X in it. So I'm going to go to collection 1, but then add on X into my package. So they kind of have an opportunity to build their own package through this process. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to give them the option to add in an engagement book. Now, this single quantity flag basically says, are they allowed to buy one of those or multiple of those? So if I have single quantity on, because I only want them to buy one engagement book, that's fine. I'm going to do digitals for the same reason. And then I'm just going to show you another option. I'm going to maybe say, I'll go wedding album, and I'll let them choose multiple wedding albums there. And we'll show you that on the front end to see what that looks like. Now, the other option here is that I can say, hey, I want to give them a 15% discount. So whatever they add onto their package, I'm going to give them 50% off. And right here, I can say, do I want to show them that I'm giving them a discount, or do I want it just to show the discounted price without showing them that there's a discount? I'm going to leave that on for now because we'll show that in the front end in just a moment. So I'm going to click save there. So again, just to reiterate and review where we've been, they're going to choose one of 3, and then they're going to be able to choose optionally any of these 3 to add onto the package that they choose down here. Moving on down here, this is where I can say, hey, I've already received this payment from this client. So this is great if a client has called you and wanted to book over the phone. They already gave you the credit card. You already processed that payment. You can add this as a payment to say, hey, I've already received this. So when the order is created, it will apply that payment retroactively to that order. So that's a great tool if you're bringing clients over from another system, or if you're booking clients in some other form and you want to apply those payments here. The next part here is payment schedule. So this is where you can say, hey, I want to, in building this order, what's the payment schedule looking like? So if you're a family photographer, like a lot of the folks in the room are right now, you might leave it a single payment. If you're a wedding photographer, you may bring over a payment schedule. Whatever makes sense for you, but you can basically set that up so it shows the client and builds the order appropriately. Tax is obvious. That's the tax that's going to be applied to the package they choose. How do you want to collect payment from them? So again, you can do Stripe or PayPal or manual collections, whatever works for you. But this is where you give them those choices, and we'll show you that on the front end in just a moment. Allow coupons allows you to have coupons that a client can apply to this when they're actually building this order. I'll show you that on the front end in just a moment. And then working my way up here, send proposal. We're going to turn this on because it is a proposal that I'm going to send to my client as opposed to me booking it manually. So we're going to leave this on. Expiry date is whatever date you choose to set it to. So I can leave it on the 17th. There is a Sprout Assistant notification that I'll show you in just a moment that you can automatically send out to the client to remind them that their booking proposal is expiring. Add a contract. I'm going to keep that on, and I'm going to go ahead and add a contract. Now, what happens once I add that contract is it pops open the contract here for me to edit. It's important, again, to note that any changes I make here, I'm making only to this booking proposal contract. So it pulls into the template, or pulls the template in here, allows you to edit it just for this booking proposal, and then you click update and it adds it right here. Now, again, if I open this, make changes, click update, it's only ever updating this contract for this booking proposal, not your template one. Working down here, this is the message template. So this lets me choose and customize my welcome message and my thank you message, which is what shows up at the end. So I'll show you that again in the front end and where that shows up. So we'll click update down here. Right here is the questionnaire. So I can add a questionnaire as a part of the booking proposal process. Let me just see if I have any decent templates in here. We'll pull in one here. This sounds great. I'm going to pull this one in. And again, you can build this questionnaire the same way you would normally build a questionnaire anywhere else. But this allows you to now add it as a part of the flow in the booking proposal. So I'm going to click save there. Now, invitation. Let's go ahead and add an invitation. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm not going to schedule the main date, but instead I'm going to schedule an additional date. So there are two options: schedule an existing date, of course, which then I could choose shoot date, choose my invitation, and it would add it. Or I can say, hey, I need to also schedule another date as a part of this booking proposal, and I want to use this specific invitation for it. Now, again, you can add as many of these as you want. So if you're a family photographer and you want your client to be able to book their shoot date and book their sales session, that's great. If you want to book a pre-sale session, the shoot date, and a post-sale session, you can book as many of these as you want, and it's all going to be a part of what the client walks through in the booking proposal process. So that's a really great and useful tool to be able to walk your clients through all of this. Again, as a quick side note, all of this stuff here, I just removed that. All of this stuff here, you can save into a template. So you can automate a lot of this stuff, do the work once, and never have to double back into it again later. Now this is where I was saying is, what's the workflow that I want to apply here? So once the shoot is booked, what workflow do I want to apply? So if you remember the drawing that we had over on the iPad just a few moments ago, in fact, here, I'll flip over to that. There's the drawing right there. So again, this is this part right here. What workflow do I want to apply once this lead books into a shoot? So that would be this right here. And then this email link to shoot, if I turn that on, again, if we flip back on over to the drawing, this is this part right here. Do you want to email them, the client, a link to say, hey, this has been booked. Here's the link with your username. Here's the link to set up your password so that you have a login to view everything to do with this shoot in the future. So you can turn that on if you want to have that on. So that's what that is for right there. Now, the other thing that we'll add in here is just these are the Sprout Assistant reminders. So what reminders do you want to add in addition to everything else that you were doing here? So do you want to send a reminder after it's published but not viewed? What reminders do you want to send after it's been viewed but not signed? What reminders do you want to add before it expires? So again, that's in relation to this expiry date. And then do you want to send a confirmation when a booking proposal is signed? So you can turn all of those off. You can tweak them. You can add them. You can customize them. It's all flexible. We had a webinar 2 weeks ago all about Sprout Assistant and digging into the details and the nuances of Sprout Assistant. So I do recommend that if you want to dive more into Sprout Assistant, you go on back and watch that one so you can dig a little bit deeper into that topic. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and now there's two options. I can click publish an email, which will make this booking proposal live, make it viewable in the front end, and it's also going to pop open the email for me to email the booking proposal to my client. Or I can click this and just say publish, which means it's still going to publish it. It's just not going to prompt me to email my client for it. So for now, I am going to click publish an email. This is going to open up my default email for the booking proposal. I'm going to go ahead and click send now. And now this booking proposal is sent. One of the things that we'll note here is that this shows up at the top saying, hey, just FYI, now that you've set up a booking proposal for this shoot, this date is now reserved in your calendar. So once you send a booking proposal, it's going to kind of block off this date for you in your calendar so someone else can't come in and sneak it in the meantime. That's why it's so important for you to have that dialogue, for you to do all of those things before you send this booking proposal. Don't just send this as the first thing that you send to a client once they get in touch with you. So those are all the components of a booking proposal. Again, if you have questions about those specific things, let me know. Happy to answer those as we go here or at the end. I'm just popping in, no questions. So that's good. Very cool. Otherwise, I'm now going to pop in and we're going to walk through what this exact booking proposal looks like, but from the client's perspective. So let's pop that buck on open here. There we go. And I'm going to click this little view link right here to open this up on the client end. Okay, so let's walk through and let's dissect what all these things are. So this part right here, this is the welcome message. So this is what we had set up. Again, if I flip back on over here and if I open up this, here is that welcome message. And here is where it shows up on the front end. So I'll close out of that. We're just going to do that for all of these here. So let's go ahead and click get started. Now, the first thing the client's going to walk through is the invitation. That's the first part. So if we go back on over here, they're picking this right here. This is the pre-wedding phone chat. If I go back over here, there's your pre-wedding phone call with there. So we're going to go ahead and choose this, choose that, walk on through, and then there we go. So now they've basically walked through this part right here. So if I go back here, now we're going to be choosing one of those 3 collections. So again, if I pop on back over here, they're now choosing between 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. And if I click on this one and scroll down, here's those 3 a la carte items. Again, there's those 3 a la carte items right there. And if you remember, when I had this open right here, we have this show discount turned on, meaning it's going to show, hey, it was $700. It is $595 because I've chosen to give a 15% discount. So that's why it's showing the number crossed out with the actual number, because I've said show the discount. If I said don't show the discount, it wouldn't show 700 crossed out. It wouldn't show 800 crossed out. It would just show 595, 680, 1020. Now, if I click on wedding album, you can see here I have a spinner for quantity, so I can add as many of these as I want. That, again, is what this was. So this wedding album multi allows the client on the front end to choose multiple of those. Whereas when I click engagement session, there's no number spinner. And that's because I have engagement books set to single. I only want them to buy one of them for whatever reason. That's why you would use it there. Single versus multi, one gets a spinner, the other doesn't get a spinner. So moving on down, this now shows the payment schedule. So again, if I go on down, if I click save on this and go on down, there's my payment schedule, 1,500, 50, 50. So I've got this 1,500 and then 50% and then 50%. So that's all set up down there. Now this allow coupons toggle right here, that shows this little add a coupon button. So if I click this, I can now add in a coupon code if I had it. If I had this turned off, this little coupon section wouldn't show at all, and this payment schedule bit would just be wider. So this only shows if you have that add a coupon button toggled on. So let's keep on walking through here. The next step here is going to be contact information. This is just filling out the actual client here. So we're going to fill that out here. And then we're going to click next and keep walking through it. The next step here is going to be the questionnaire. So again, if I go back into the booking proposal here, here's that sample questionnaire that I built. If you open it up, we can just remind ourselves what was on that. And if I open up this is now the questionnaire here. So I'm just going to put in some lorem ipsum here. We're going to put some more in here. We will answer some of these questions. And there we go. And then one more question. This is additional. And we'll click next. So once we do that, now we're going to be brought into the contract section. So again, opening back over here, if I close this, this is now showing us this contract right here. So this is the contract. It's now going to use all the dates and the packages and the variables and the client names and all of the things that we had set up on those previous steps to sort of culminate here in this contract. So I'll kind of scroll down here, and there's the package. There's the add-ons. Here's 2 signatures because I've set this one up with 2 signatures. So I'm going to go into person number 1 and person number 2. So we're going to click accept and pay. Now, just to give some insight to what's happening behind the scenes, again, if we kind of flip on back over here to the iPad, so we've just kind of walked through this bit right here. So the client has picked a package, they've filled out their contact information, they've done the questionnaire here. Let me just do this in green. There we go. They've done that, they've done that, they've done that. They just signed the contract. Now, at this point, technically, you could countersign it, and then we could book them into a shoot. But now it's waiting on them to pay. So again, if I go back over here to Sprout, this has now opened up the payment modal because you've said, if I go back over here, you've said, hey, I need them to pay. There's a deposit here. So they're now being prompted to pay. But technically, the contract is signed at this point because the contract being signed is separate from the payment being made. So if I click on down here and click continue, this is now showing how much there is to be paid. And this now shows me those collection methods, check or credit card. So again, if I go back over here, collection methods right here, check and credit card. And there they are right there. So I'm going to go ahead and click credit card. And you go through, we're going to pay this. And I know that Braden's probably screenshotting my screen right now, trying to get this credit card to go buy that latest Fuji on bnhphoto.com. but that credit card ain't going to work because it's a test credit card. So nice try, Braden. So we'll walk through. The payment's going to go ahead and process it. And there we are. It's now paid. So this is now the confirmation page. Now, a couple quick things to show up here. This is the thank you message. So if we come on back over here and take a look at this message template and click into here, we have in this dropdown, thank you message. So this is the thank you message here. And there's the thank you message being confirmed there. Just kind of scrolling on down here, we have just a reiteration of, hey, this is the package that you chose, just to keep you in the loop. Here is the invoice and all the payments that you just made. Here's the contract that you just signed. And here's the dates that you just picked. One was the shoot date that was already picked. The other was that phone call that you scheduled in addition. So at this point now, again, kind of going back to this over here, we are now waiting on the photographer, you, to sign. So if I bring on back over to Sprout, you will have gotten a notification both in email and also in Sprout Studio. And I'm just going to refresh this page here, and there we go. So now it is ready for you, for me, the photographer, to sign. We can scroll through here. We can see that the client signed it. We can see the package that they chose over here. We can see the payment schedule, all of that. And now we can go ahead and sign it. Again, if you take a look right now, it's still in a lead. Before I click the sign button, let me just kind of walk you through this again. If we look at all this, it's still a lead. At this point, it's still a lead until you do this, they do this. Once you countersign it, it goes down. That's when it converts it into a shoot. Now, keep in mind, these things down here that we talked about, these 4 things that happen when you convert, when you actually click the button, these 4 things, as soon as I go through and countersign this contract, these 4 things are going to happen. It's going to convert as a shoot. It's going to apply that workflow. It's going to email a link to the shoot, and it's going to change the status to booked. So those are the 4 things that are about to happen as soon as I click this sign button right here. So let's click it, and we're going to wait and see the magic. There we go. Got the notification. I did all the work. You can see it moved it over into a shoot over here. So now it's been converted into a shoot. Let's take a look at a few things right now. So first of all, we can see the status. It's now changed into booked the same way that I said it would. So it's changed into now a shoot status with booked. If you look here, there's those tasks and there's those questionnaires. Now, those were all from that workflow that I said back in the booking proposal. I said, hey, as soon as this lead converts, apply this workflow. So that workflow now has been applied. It's now been added into here. Going on down here, if I click into emails, you can see here, there is the email that they would have received saying, hey, you've been given access. This is that email link to shoot. So if you look at this, this is the email the client would have been given saying, hey, you've been given access to view Zoe and Dan wedding. And then if they click this, and when they click this, they'll be prompted to set up a password. Now, I'm going to actually check because I'm not sure if I can do this because I'm logged in or not. Nope. So it's good. So now that this is a new client, they've been given this link. Just click here and click access your portal. A lot of folks ask us, how do you set a password for your client? Well, you don't have to, because as soon as the client goes in here to activate their portal, it's going to prompt them to set up their password. So if I type in the password that I want right here and click activate account, the password is now set up, and now they're brought to their portal, and they now have a login and a password to access everything with you in their booking or in their portal here. Yeah, Braden, thanks for checking over there. Everyone following along. Everyone's still there. Are we all there? Are we sleeping? Are we good? I know it's a lot to kind of go through, but there will be a replay again. So if you want to go through and walk through this again afterwards, you're welcome to. So we'll go through here, gonna close, and there we go. So again, just to kind of reiterate, that is one of the things that happened. That email went out, and then let's just quickly take a look. We also obviously have the order that was created based on what they just chose in the booking proposal. There's that package, there's those extras that they added on, there's the payment schedule, there's that payment that they just made, and so on and so forth. And then also, if I click into contracts, there's the contract there. And if I open the contract, we can see that it's been signed by both me as the photographer and the client over there. So that is what happens, and that's how the whole workflow works with a booking proposal. When a client signs it, when you sign it, and everything that happens in between. So with that, what I want to walk through now is how to use booking proposals to grow your business. And what I'm going to do is, let's take a look here. Actually, here, let's go and open up Sprout. There we go. So let's talk about a few things here that are really useful tools in booking proposals that can help you grow your business. So the first one that I want to talk about is using the message, the welcome message, to set expectations. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up another booking proposal here, or another lead, and take a look into this. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply a template just so we can kind of get this fast tracked to where we want to get it to. So the first thing is to set clear expectations. If you remember, this is the welcome message, and you can put whatever you want in here. Additionally, you can use variables specific for this lead so that it's feeling a little bit more relevant. Use this as a tool to set expectations with your clients. Use this as a tool to add value, to communicate about what they're about to go through, because it's the first thing that they see when they open the link. Again, if I close this and if I publish it, as soon as I open this up here, the first thing that they see is that welcome message. This is an opportunity for you to set clear expectations, both here in the welcome and then at the very end with the thank you. So that's one way that you can use booking proposals to grow your business, by just setting clear expectations with your clients and making sure that there's no T's that are uncrossed and I's that are undotted. That's the first part. The second part is using invitations to eliminate the back and forth. So if you're booking a booking proposal, now again, I'm just going to go kind of back to the chat over here. A lot of the folks here are in family photography. They're doing seniors. They're doing branding. So if I say if, I am a family photographer. And so I'll use these to schedule the pre-session design consult. That's going to happen before the session date itself. I'll use this to schedule sometimes the actual session date so we can eliminate any back and forth with clients. And then I'll also use it to schedule the reveal at my studio, which is an in-person sales session. So I'll actually use this to schedule 3 dates in here. One of them will be the existing date, which is the shoot date, and the other 2 will just be based on invitations I've already created. So use invitations as a tool to eliminate that back and forth with your clients so that they walk through the whole thing in one fell swoop in the booking proposal. The next way, the third way to use booking proposals to grow your business, is to use a la carte items to suggestive selling, I guess is the proper way. I've done this many times in my own photography business, where I would be booking a session, or I would be booking an engagement or a wedding. I'd be booking whatever it was, and I would put items in here that I would think, okay, just to be sure, because I know that I've talked about it. I know that it's in my contract. I know that it's everywhere that I do, but every time it happens where the client says, do I get the digital files? Well, if I add it as an item that they can purchase in a booking proposal, it lets them know, hey, this isn't included. It is an extra if you want to buy it. And B, a lot of the times they'll actually just grab it because they're thinking, oh, I didn't realize it wasn't included. I do want to go ahead and buy that. And so it's an easy $1,000 add-on that they may otherwise have just kind of skimmed over or never even been aware of, or didn't even know that it was an option. So you could use that for digital. So you could use it for anything. Add those things in as a la carte items to sort of prompt some ideas, some products, some services that they may be interested in that they otherwise wouldn't have thought of. The fourth way that you can use booking proposals to grow your business is that everything, and as you saw here, everything in here is branded beautifully for you. So make sure that you've got your logo set up right, your colors set up right, your photos of your product set up right, your description set up right, because when you set it all up proper, you've got everything consistent and beautifully branded for you, from your photos to your descriptions to even in here, descriptions for these. So you can see here how beautiful and consistent this all is and how it shows you off in a really beautiful way. So set this up, take some time, set up your master price list appropriately so that this looks really beautiful for your clients here on the front end. The fifth way that you can use booking proposals to grow your business, and it's kind of what I just showed you there, is to use photos and descriptions to build desire for what it is that you offer. So in here, I've got some really beautiful photos of some different products that I have. Down and over here, I've even got photos in here for a wedding album. So if they're not sure what it is, but use these things to your advantage from a sales standpoint to communicate about value and to show off the beautiful products and the beautiful services that you offer. The next thing that we can use in order to grow your business with booking proposals is to use workflows. So down in here, when you want to go apply a workflow, this is how you can automate things in your business to basically say, hey, once this is booked, here's this whole string of workflows, this whole string of tasks, this whole string of emails and questionnaires that I want to be applying to this automatically so that you don't even have to think about it. Now, I want to maybe just pause and give an opportunity to dive into, or to invite you to dive into the workflow webinar that we gave a few weeks ago. There is a replay. Drew or Braden, I'm sure, can post a link to that in the chat beside there. But basically, if you want to dive into how to effectively use workflows, because workflows are such a fantastic tool to help you stay organized, to stay on top of your business, and to make sure that your clients are well served and well guided. And you can use those and apply that automatically right here in a booking proposal. So that's that way. The last way that you can use booking proposals to grow your business, and then I'll kind of get ready to wrap up and go on to Q&A, is to use Sprout Assistant reminders. Even simple things like, hey, remind my client that I sent this, but they haven't viewed it yet. Remind my client that they viewed it, but they haven't signed it yet. Or remind my client that, hey, it expires soon. Those are great tools just to make sure that you're not letting anything fall through the cracks, that everything gets followed up on, that your client doesn't end up forgetting, they don't get busy, which happens in the busyness of life. But you can use it as a tool to make sure that things actually get done, that things actually get followed up on. So that is, my friends, booking proposals in a nutshell. I want to maybe just pause now, give you a moment to catch your breath. I'm going to take a quick glass of water. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those questions. And yeah, Drew just posted the link to the webinar for both workflows and Sprout Assistant. So definitely encourage you to go on over and check those out. And if you do have questions, please pop them into the questions tab. Otherwise, if you're watching the replay, unfortunately, there are no questions. But we always do have our support team and a whole bunch of other resources that you can use to get more information. What I'm going to do really quickly here, maybe while questions are coming in, if there are any questions. Oh, there's one coming in. Let's take a look. Okay, so start live answer. Okay, if the booking proposal expires, does that shoot date become available again? Yeah, Alyssa, really great question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Sprout here. And so you can see here, this has now booked off March 11th, 2020. I'm going to change that just for purposes of this. I'm going to make it 2022. So we're going to make it March 1st, 2022. I'm going to click update here and give this a quick little refresh. Actually, I'm just going to minimize this. There we go. Okay, so I've got March 1st, 2022, and it's showing me here, hey, this is reserved off in your calendar. Now, what that means is as soon as I click to add a lead, if I go to choose March of 2022, this is going to say, hey, hang on a second, there is a lead. If I click this, it's going to say, yep, this is a lead. That way I know this date is kind of like marked off in my calendar. So the question is right now, yes, this is now booked off, but now let's show this. Once it expires, so what I'm going to do to kind of simulate it expiring is I'm going to unpublish it, because really that's what expiring a booking proposal does, is it unpublishes it. Now you've noticed that bar is gone at the top. If I open up this lead here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the date by 1 and then go back to the first, we can see down here, hey, it's now yellow, not red. And what that means is, hey, there's a lead. You've had an inquiry for this date, but the date's not blocked off in your calendar anymore. So it does change the state of what you see based on whether it's a published booking proposal or not a published booking proposal. One just says, hey, FYI, you've had leads. The other one says, hey, this is a hard no. You've got something booked off or booked on this date already. So I hope that helps for you, Alyssa. Otherwise, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip on into this just to kind of run through some more of the resources. Again, otherwise, unless there's questions, I'm happy to answer them as we go. But some of the other resources that we have available for you to sort of take from this point moving forward after this webinar. If you want to check out any of the competitors or how we rank against the competitors, come on over to getsproutstudio.com/comparison. Drew will pop the links to all these in the chat. Drew or Braden will. If you are interested in switching to Sprout but don't have the time or the energy or the desire to do the transition yourself, we do have a concierge program where we can do that work for you. So come on over to getsproutstudio.com/concierge. If you want to see some of the features that we've been working on for you or we have worked on for you, come on over to the terminology roadmap, getsproutstudio.com/terminology-roadmap. If you want to see some of the features that we've built for you, that will be timeline. I lied. I'm sorry. Terminology roadmap is actually our glossary. So that's like our definition guide to show you, hey, this is what this means, this is what this means, and this is what this means. So it's a great resource for you. The timeline tool is the roadmap that I was telling you about in terms of the features we've built for you. Sprout School is a great extension of this webinar series, of our watering hole series. So if you want to dive into Sprout as a whole and have this kind of guided process through every single feature in Sprout Studio, Sprout School is a great resource for you for that. And of course, if you want to get some self-help in terms of FAQs or videos or other docs or other questions that you may have, SproutStudioSupport.com is a great place for that. Otherwise, you can call us. Let me take my face off of here again. You can, where'd it go? Apparently I can't do that. Oh, it's locked. That's why. Hold tight, folks. I'm sorry. There we are. So you can call us, you can email us, you can chat with us in-app, or you can come and join our Facebook community, and we'd love to help you with any other questions that you have. And speaking of which, I'm going to transition because Lisa has a question. I'm open. A quick outline of the differences between booking pages and booking proposals. Okay, really great question. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to, first of all, minimize this, and we're going to do some drawing. So here's the main difference between the two of those. So the first thing, again, with a booking proposal is first you have a lead, and then the lead gets sent the booking proposal, 2, 3, and then once you sign, they become a shoot, right? So that's the workflow of how all of that works. So you have a lead that you send a booking proposal, and they become a shoot. So that is the sort of booking proposal workflow there. So if we kind of just like highlight that as the BP workflow. Now, if we kind of go down and say, well, how does that differ from a booking page? A booking page is basically the same thing as a booking proposal. A booking page is just saying, hey, this is 1 and 2 and 3, and everything within a booking page is outlined the exact same way as a booking proposal. The main difference, though, is that there's no lead first. So you're basically just making a standalone booking proposal that we call a booking page. And once your client, and you can go through it, and you can have as many clients go through it as you want. So you can have N number of people that go through it as many times as they need to go through it. So you can say, hey, this is my mini session booking page, and this is my headshot booking page. This is my portrait booking page. And so they can go through it as many times as they want. And once they sign it, a shoot is created. I guess arguably, technically, a lead is created because you have to countersign it. But regardless, it makes a shoot. So really, the only difference is that it doesn't have to start and be built and attached to a lead, but instead it's its own standalone thing that lives in its own space. Let me know if that is helpful for you, Lisa, or if you perhaps need some more clarification on that. All right, let me pop back on over to the questions, see if there are any more. Doesn't look like it for the most part. So that's pretty much it then, folks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this on back over. Again, just leave this up for a moment if you want to jot down any of this information. Otherwise, Drew and Braden can pop it into the chat there. But yeah, would appreciate you taking time with us today. Have loved spending time here with you. Hope that you've found this valuable. And again, if you have any other questions, you know how to get in touch with us. Otherwise, have yourself a great day.